Hey, so I want to talk about the macros that I use for PvP to just enhance my gameplay just a little bit more, make me a little bit better at the game, both in terms of efficiency and also being able to do things that, things that you might not know right now that you can do in the game. These are going to be for a lot of different classes, and I'm sorry they're not going to be for all classes, but I still think you should watch some of them just to see if there's something you can just adapt and pull onto your own class. And also, Arena is not a game for one person, it's for you and your friends, and hopefully you can just tip your friend and be like, hey, did you know this? You can actually take mind control off of me when I get mind controlled. Right now, a Shadow Priest is quite OP, and there are certain healers who can do that, and I'll show you how in just a moment. So, yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first macro here is really one that I think shows what can be really beautiful about macros, what macros can do that nothing else in the game really can capture, and how it can change your gameplay in a really, really good way. In a way usually where you don't have to think about it, right? This is a help harm macro, and a help harm macro basically means it does something else if your target is an enemy target rather than a friendly target. And usually that would be used for like a healing spell and then a damaging spell. That's one way you can do it, but this is actually not meant to be used that way, or it doesn't really get used that way. I'll show you the macro and we can talk about why it's frankly insane. It's really good. Alright, so it's my Dispel macro. So you can see here, I target it to that guy and I just Dispel him. Now what happens when I change to a harm target? Well, it changes to purge, as you can see. Now, why is this really insane? I have a different purge key right here on Shift C. That's my purge key. That's the one I use to actually purge my enemies. But why do I have it then here in my Dispel key? Well, actually, there is a thing in the game where mind control, when people get CC'd with mind control, they become your enemy, so you can't really dispel them. But when they become your enemy and you can't dispel them, that mind control is no longer a debuff, but a buff to them because they're on the enemy team. So you can actually purge that beneficial spell of your teammate who is being mind controlled. So you can just take it off like you're dispelling them. So like you're dispelling a sheep, if you have this macro, it'll simply work to feel like you're just dispelling a sheep, right? But you're actually dispelling a mind control. I think that is a really, really clever macro, and it's really, really useful. So I hope that that you're gonna go ahead and use that one. All right, now I'm on another character that I haven't leveled. It's my rogue, and I haven't played this for quite a while, but I have a macro that I think is really, really useful still. Sort of after the changes that stealth had a very short cooldown, as you can see, I simply started to put stealth into every single keybind that I use in my sort of basic rotation. This is how it looks, right? So it's cast nocombat stealth, and then you just add. I've just added based on every single spec, whether it's backstab, it's mutilate, or Sinister Strike, to make this macro just work for one button for all specs. You can make 3 macros if you want to do that, but my macro book is quite full, so I'm not going to do that. But it's a brilliant macro because this is where it's clever. Why is it clever to have stealth? Well, it's one button to go into stealth. You don't need to keep on stealth anywhere else. That's nice and neat. Maybe you already have a stealth key. That doesn't really matter then. The reason it is clever is because this game is filled with buggy situations, and combat doesn't always work the way you want it to work. So sometimes you just can't get out of combat, but sometimes you just drop combat out of nowhere. In PvP situations as well, if you're not fighting something with a pet and you're running around a pillar, maybe you get a free stealth. Maybe in the middle of combat, nothing attacks you and you don't attack anything else, and combat is all of a sudden gone. Well, then you go into stealth, and the next time you attack someone, it's with an empowered Garrote that silences them, or it's with a big chunky Shadow Strike, or whatever it is. It's just really nice, and you get it for free by just having a macro that sends you into stealth anytime that you drop combat. And yeah, again, macro in the description. Alright, so this next macro is really actually quite hard for me to show because it requires a very specific situation. But when it occurs, it is a really powerful macro, and it's the one that I've written up right here. It's my delete macro for Spellsteal, and what it does, it simply takes the spells with Spellsteal from another target and then deletes them, just cancels aura. And you might be like, why would I want to do that? Well, if you are fighting another mage, and especially if you're using the Kleptomania PvP talent, you get a huge cooldown when you, cooldown when you Spellsteal, and you end up with these buffs that the other mage can simply take back. So instead of ending up with a long cooldown and no buffs, why not make sure that that at least they don't have the buffs, that you at least come up on top in those mage fights, because when they then have the buffs and you steal them, or then, sorry, the other way around, when they've stolen your buffs, you can simply take them back, but they can't, and they might even waste some energy, even waste a Kleptomania Spellsteal trying to get them back, but you've simply deleted them. So inside of the macro, I'd simply put any spell that you deem relevant enough. I have put Hand of Protection and Temporal Shield, but I might put some more when I start PvPing for serious on the mage. A really, honestly, clever macro that I think not a lot of mages anticipate. And when you do this, well, as I said, you have the upper hand. You get the most out of it. Just make sure that this situation is as disadvantageous for them as possible. It's a really nice macro for mages. Alright, so that was it for now. I hope you found something that you could use. I'm definitely doing more of these, just chucking out some macros that you can use for different parts of the game. These was all of the clever, smart PvP macros. Yeah, again, I hope you found something useful. Thank you for watching.